So quite a number of things packed in that particular report. I think it was from thence some of these headlines emanated. So today we'll review the developments in the country, and one segment will feed into another. But let's start from Abuja. Makwe.
Yes, indeed. We're starting from here, and we're talking about what is happening right now since the president has been inaugurated. For those of you who have been following the countdown on Politics Today, a sister program, it's now been at least about 25 days since the president was inaugurated, and people are wondering what is going on with the president's cabinet. When are we going to hear the names of those who have been appointed, or when is the president going to submit the list to the National Assembly? But before we go there, let me introduce my guest. We have with us Honorable Kingsley Chinda, who is a member of the People's Democratic Party. Honorable, you're welcome to Sunrise Daily this morning.
Good morning.
Just wondering, I don't know if you would like to quickly respond to this. The PDP held a meeting here in Abuja yesterday, and one of the things they did was that one of the things the leadership was concerned about was the emergence of the leadership in the National Assembly, and they said they're going to probe how come it was that their own the people whom they wanted to support did not emerge. They think that some of their members were compromised. Do you want to quickly say something to that?
Well, the worry is not just about the emergence of the leadership of the National Assembly, but the nature and form. And of course, every Nigerian should be worried. I'm sure that you've seen some of the clips, and if that is a system that we want to leave behind.
But what clips? Saying
the clips of the process, the voting process and all that. And if members of the People's Democratic Party are involved in compromising their votes, I think that the party is correct to look into it and ensure that we're on track.
But can they really do anything about it?
So much. We all belong to a political party, and you're there on the platform of the party. And then there is also a party ideology that is in place, and you're expected to toe that party ideology. If you feel that the party cannot do much at this stage, I'm sure that hereafter you will also seek the support of the party. So there is so much that the party can do, and that's why you always hear people talk about party discipline. I think that the People's Democratic Party is on track.
Well, isn't that being a little hypocritical? Because many people who were concerned about the elections in the National Assembly were upholding it based on what they believe should be the independence of the National Assembly. The argument was that the parties have no say in what eventually happens in the National Assembly. Some even argue that, oh, your party is only a vehicle to get you there. When you get there, you get down and you're now a member of the National Assembly. What's your take on that?
No. If you also listen to the governor of Kaduna State, who said that they didn't know that members of the PDP are that cheap, that will send a signal. That means that the party has to investigate and find out why that comment was made. If actually members of the People's Democratic Party were compromised, it's worrisome. I'm not talking about the final result. I'm not talking about the emergence of Femi Gbajabiamila, who is ably qualified to occupy that seat, just like every other member. But the process, that's the concern of the party. The party is concerned about the process. And if such derogatory comment would be made concerning members of the People's Democratic Party in Parliament, every responsible party should sit up and find out why that statement was made.
And it wasn't made in sarcasm, in the sense that if they're alleging that, oh, people were bribed with $10,000, the thing could be, are they that cheap that we'll bribe them with $10,000? I mean, was that the light in which the statement was made? I haven't heard it. I'm just asking.
I believe that that is the light in which the statement was made, that members of the People's Democratic Party are hungry, and they didn't know that. Now that they know. And so I think the party must sit up. The party must do something about it. Not just the People's Democratic Party. Sincerely, I also feel that the APC should do something about it.
Well, that is because they are denying it. They say we didn't induce lawmakers, nothing like bizarre. That's what they claim. But let's look at this president's ministerial list. They're wondering what is going on. I mean, I don't know if you're asking the same question. Do you think, is it because the National Assembly is on recess, that's why the list is not yet out, or I don't know. Do you have any inkling as to why we're still waiting?
Well, that is not likely to be the reason, because even when we're on break, we still receive correspondence from Mr. President. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because we have gone through this route before. You and I know how long it took for Mr. President to submit his initial list when he was elected. So I expect that something close to that would happen. It's a clear sign.
6 months?
Perhaps 6 months or close to 6 months. But this is a clear sign of a government that is not prepared. And we've been saying it. We've been saying that the government in place today is not prepared for governance. I mean,
why do you say so? I mean,
you won an election sometime in February, March, and you're taking over in May. You had enough time to prepare not just your list, cabinet list, but you had enough time to begin to plan towards policy implementation. And then you mean after swearing in, you have to wait for another 1 month or so before you begin to chunk out your list of ministers. That means you never even knew where you were going to and what you intend to do. Sincerely, I expected that even those that will be ministers would have met with Mr. President within this period before the inauguration, for them to sit down, look at the country, and agree on the way forward. If you get a group of persons from that bag you're going to pick your ministers from, you brainstorm with them. That will even give you an opportunity to know and understand the thinking of those you intend to work with. But we are wasting time. We have just 4 years to run. And we wasted the first six months under the first administration. This will also affect investment.
No, but we haven't also heard, I mean, in fairness to the president, let's also look at the states. We haven't also heard that a number of states have also appointed their commissioners. And the elections were concluded, as you rightly pointed out, quite a while ago in March. So would you say that there is an unnecessary focus on the center, without giving equal attention to the states? Not a lot of state governments, if any at all, have appointed their commissioners.
Some of the state governments have appointed commissioners, but what we can say is that they have not appointed their full cabinet. But some commissioners have been appointed. In Rivers State, where I come from, we have a commissioner for, the Attorney General of the state is appointed. The Commissioner for Finance is appointed. The SSG is in place. The Chief of Staff is in place. Government is running. Even where you don't come with your full list, but clearly you let Nigerians know that you have a clear direction. You know where you're going to. You know those you want to work with.
Well, let me quickly bring in my second guest here. We now are being joined by Honorable Farouk Adamu, who is a former minority leader at the House of Representatives and is also a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress. You're welcome to Sunrise Edith this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Just before you came on, Honorable Chinda was responding. I don't know if you want to quickly also respond to the allegation that there was an election bazaar in the National Assembly that saw the emergence of the current leadership.
Well, I honestly don't think so. But you know, I mean, we were through this kind of thing. I mean, we were in the opposition, so we know how it feels. You know, the pain of defeat and so on. I was there live at what happened. And, you know, it's a matter of opinion as well. It's a matter of numbers. It was live. I'm sure channels also showed it live. The people, the members had the right to vote whoever they wanted to vote.
You saw those pictures as well of, you know, flash of photographs being taken right then the polling booth.
Yes.
On the floor of the National Assembly.
But there's nothing.
Is there any explanation for that? Is there any reason why members will be taking pictures of,
I wouldn't know
the candidates from?
I wouldn't know the reason, but then I'm telling you, there is nothing wrong with you taking picture of whatever you want, whomever you want to vote for.
You do know that INEC has frowned against that. In fact, I think in the last elections, they actually said people shouldn't take their phones to the polling booth.
Well, INEC?
Yes, INEC.
That's not INEC election. That's not election of the INEC. That one was set up by the rules of the House. So INEC has no authority to come to the National Assembly and tell them how they do their election. And in any case, if any member frowns at what happened, let them go to court. They're free to do that. So as long as it's not challenged in court, I think what happened was right, and the members chose their leadership.
So you refute allegations that votes were bought?
Oh, no, absolutely. That's not true. I don't know whether the PDP members, I mean, instead of them sponsoring a PDP candidate, decided to take a member of APC. So probably the PDP bought members, bought members of the APC to ensure that there is division, so that maybe APC loses. But then, if PDP were right, if PDP knew they could win, why didn't they feel, I mean, a member? Why didn't they feel somebody from the PDP? So to me, I mean, you know, it's pain of defeat. I told you, I mean, we've been through this kind of route. I mean, we're in opposition, so we know how painful it is for you to see the party in government winning election all through.
Honorable, you smile. He says it's pain of defeat.
Well,
I know you already addressed the question, but just quickly, if you want to.
I smiled because there is no victor, no vanquished in that election. So the issue of pain of defeat does not arise. The PDP is worried concerning the process, not the outcome of the election. We had no PDP candidate, but the process, like my colleague said, the House rules provides for secret ballot. And so if it is for secret ballot and you snap your ballot, what is the essence? It's no longer secret ballot. You are compromising the system. And sincerely, the National Assembly should be an ideal place. This is an election of only 360 members. Only 360. If it is compromised...
In the House of Reps?
Yes, in the House of Reps. If you compromise only 360, talk less of the entire country. It's shameful. And I'm a member of that parliament. And if anybody will stand to defend it, then we're not being sincere to ourselves. We're looking at a larger setting, the entire country. How do we make progress? Allow these members to... Perhaps the same candidate would have still won. But you don't need to compromise the process. Let us also be aware that others are watching what we're doing. So the PDP is investigating the role of her members in that process. And of course, the list that will happen is for such members to be cautioned and perhaps educated and enlightened on the implication of what has happened.
Let us go. I mean, we were already talking about the president's ministerial list, and you already said that this is a sign of a government that wasn't prepared. Honorable, how do you respond to that? Because people are wondering, are we going to see what it is we saw in the president's first tenure when it took almost 6 months for him to come up with a ministerial list people felt he could have come up with the moment he was sworn in?
Yeah, you see, first of all, quickly, just to respond to my younger brother here, my younger colleague, you know, when he said the election of only 360 people, he's from Rivers State. Is he also questioning the election in Rivers, saying that the general election was probably compromised? That's not. But then coming to the ministerial list, we still come back to the people of this country. Now, the last time the president took 6 months, then 4 years down the line, elections took place again. The same people of this country voted for Mr. President. So if the people of this country did not agree with what he was doing, he wouldn't have been voted. So let's even not go there. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's taking his time, and nothing specified that he must submit list of ministerial list or any list for that matter now, yesterday, or in 6 months. So nobody says he must do that. As I said, if the people of this country decided to vote for the same man who took 6 months.
Honorable, I think that the people who voted for the president, I mean, they will definitely have their reasons. I don't think they voted for him because he's a perfect man.
Oh, that's true. He's not infallible.
If he's not infallible, and you agree that he isn't, and there are certain things that he noted were not quite right in his first tenure, and they seem to be seeing signs again of that in this second tenure, shouldn't they point it out?
Well, I'm not telling you that everything that has gone with the government was right. No, there were so many mistakes, which is normal with human beings, you know, but still come back to the people, what I said. If you and I, the majority of this country, decided to vote for the same person, so which means anybody who says that, look, he did not submit list now, I mean, the people of Nigeria don't care, really, because this is all, you know, noise of the opposition. I told you.
Shouldn't we be concerned? Honorable,
no, of course.
Shouldn't we be concerned? I mean, when you say this is noise of the opposition.
Absolutely, it is. It is. It is noise of the opposition. Because I said, he took 6 months. Fine. Still the same people voted for him. So let even not go there. But I assure you, let me assure the public, Mr. Chinda inclusive, Honorable, that certainly it's not going to take 6 months this time around.
Honorable.
Well, if the argument is that he was voted for, even after he took 6 months to send his cabinet list, the same people that voted for him are worried. The same Nigerians that gave him their mandate are critical of the fact that it took 6 months for us to have ministers. I pray that my colleague, Honorable Adamu, understands the implication of this delay. That means that for those who would want to invest in this economy, they have to wait. They have to watch the system. And it's not good for us as a nation. I'm not coming from the angle of opposition. I'm coming from the angle of a Nigerian who is interested in the progress of this country. We do not have time. Before you were inaugurated, you had time to consider your cabinet. Look, let us call a spade a spade. You have said that he's not infallible. These are some of the low points of this government. You took 6 months in the first administration, and we expected that the day you were inaugurated, that you would have rolled out your ministerial list. And Nigerians are still waiting. The world is waiting. Well, let's pray it doesn't take 6 months, like Honorable Adamu has said, but I do not see anything different coming. And when this ministerial list comes out, I can bet you it will not be far from what we had. And then people will begin to question why the delay.
Well, the president he did touch on it in his speech. He's going to choose a good team. I think it was the Democracy Day team. I don't know if members of the APC already have an inkling into the sort of people that will be, appointed as ministers.
But you remember also what he said
at
the valedictory session of the ministers. He said that you should be proud of yourselves for championing the cause of change in this country. Because there are so many things that have happened, during that time. So some of them will go back, certainly. And if my brother here is saying that, well, we are waiting, and then when the list comes, there will not be anything. Well, still we come back to the people.
Well, I'm sure that you must have seen quite a number of columnists writing on the president's ministerial list and talking about his previous cabinet. There are people whom quite a number of people felt, in fact, for a number of them, they felt it was a lackluster cabinet, the previous cabinet. They felt that there were just a few bright stars, and they're saying even that they hope that this, the appointment or the assemblage of the new cabinet would not be the same people whom the president appointed. The president refused to fire or rejig his cabinet. I think he's the first president we're saying not doing that. And he gave his reasons. He says, he believes that every Nigerian has something to offer and he doesn't believe in firing people. But then people are saying for optimum, for optimum performance, if people know that they're not going to be fired, do you think it's a good, a good stance for the president to say, he doesn't believe in firing people no matter what it is that they have done?
He never said that. He never said that he does not believe in firing people no matter what they have done. It's not true. But now, you remember also during the last, the 8th Assembly, there was a lot of crisis between the executive and the legislative arm of government, where part of the reasons why he couldn't even do that was he could even submit the list and they will not, they will not pass through.
Was that what the president was afraid of?
No. What I'm saying, I am from the point of politics now, talking that, look, I am sure he must have thought about that. Well, these guys that don't like approving my budget till 6 months later, these people that don't like to approve certain names and so on. So let's just wait and see. And then at the same time, look, they have not done badly. They have not. Because if nothing, as I told you, if nothing, the 3 cardinal things that this government stood on, or still standing on, these people have done their best. And I'm telling you, I was leader of the minority where he sits now. I've been in opposition from 2003. So I knew what, while we were in opposition, we feel. Sometimes you just talk for talking. Sometimes you just rant. So we think PDP is ranting.
Should we take, should we just take it that it is ranting? I mean, when people in the opposition also speak, some people will say that it is noticing certain things that they believe could be corrected. the ruling party is not always perfect.
That's true. I agree with you.
Is it?
I agree with you. And I'm not telling you that this government is infallible. I'm not telling you that everything that is happening in this country is right. No, there are a lot of things that need to be checked. But I assure you that this time around also, so many things are going to be checked to ensure that wherever there were faults, and of course, yeah, there are sometimes the opposition will talk truthfully, to ensure there is change. Yeah, that's true. And I'm telling you honestly that sometimes, in most cases, the opposition party will say bad of the government no matter how good it is. And it's not wrong also with them to do that, because no matter how good you are, if you have somebody checking what you're doing, you improve.
But you know, you must note that the columnists I'm talking about, they're not members of political parties. And quite a number of them have written favorable reviews of the APC. When they now begin to say that the last cabinet was not exactly full of superstars, shouldn't they be taken seriously as well?
Well, when you say columnist, this is very, very subjective. Absolutely. The columnists can write whatever they want. That's their opinion. As I said,
I'll give you an instance. I'll give you some instances.
Yes.
I'll give you the instance of a minister who, you know, just before the administration wrapped up the first tenure, there was a controversy over monies paid by IWAF to Nigeria, and you know there were questions about that money being returned, that the money was paid in accident, and the responses that we heard from the minister were less than stellar. That's on the one hand. We heard of ministers who did not do NYSC and who claimed that serving in government, you know, was enough NYSC for them. These are just a few examples of some of the things that we saw in the last cabinet, and all through all of this was total silence from the president.
But this is also the same government that ensured the former Minister of Finance left because of NYC issue.
Ensured?
Yeah.
She resigned on her own.
But
there was not one word.
No, I am telling you.
No, but I'm telling you. Own volition
no.
But I am
telling you that she was asked to honorably resign. Honestly. And all the other ones that...
Why was she asked to honorably resign, and the other minister who was found not to have done any NYC wasn't asked to leave?
No, but where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? The evidence is for the person, anybody who has that kind of claim, to probably go to court and so on. You don't also just subject people to ridicule because he's not working for your party.
Honorable, are you just ranting? I mean, is this just opposition? Is this criticism for the sake of criticism?
Well, that's where I wanted to start from. Perhaps when Honorable Adamu was leading the opposition, they were ranting. But today, things have changed. We are providing facts and figures whenever we discuss government issues. We're interested in the growth of Nigeria as a nation. We are Nigerians who don't have another country. So if you hear opposition today, that is from the PDP talk, you will know that they are talking with passion. They are talking to improve government of the day. I'm a member of the National Assembly. I'm part of the system. I am part of this government. So regardless of the fact that I am in the PDP, if this government succeeds, I can beat my chest to say, while I was in the National Assembly, these were the successes recorded by the government. So if we criticize, we're criticizing constructively. The only problem we have is that we have an irresponsive government. And it is not just on the side of opposition. The Nigerian populace, a lot of issues will come up. Nigerians will air their view, but government will refuse to respond.
Are you saying that if something goes right in this government, you would actually commend the government?
Of course, I will commend the government if anything goes right, and encourage the government to continue on that path. It's our country. The government will not be there forever. Tomorrow, PDP might take over government again. So that's the kind of opposition that we expect. Opposition that is geared towards improving the polity. So if government is doing right in any field, we should commend them and encourage them to continue.
It's a fine place to live, gentlemen. We have to thank you for coming on Sunrise Daily this morning. Honorable Farouk Adamu is a former minority leader of the House of Representatives, and he's also a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress. And Honorable Kingsley Chinda is a member of the People's Democratic Party and also a member of the 9th Assembly. Thank you again for coming on Sunrise Daily. The program continues in a moment. Please stay with us.